And so we begin to return from the world where Streamlabs hates us. That was irritating. It's been a long time since Streamlabs has crashed on me like that. But it does occasionally just do that to me when I'm trying to record videos. It's so annoying. Because there's no sign it's going to do it, and it does it as soon as I hit the record button. So, very, very irritating. But there we go, that is Streamlabs for you. And it takes, oh yeah, and of course, once it does it, it takes forever to sort itself out. Like, if it proper locks up and crashes, I can't even close it to start with. Which is irritating. There have been times in the past where I have had to just shut down the computer to get Streamlabs to close because it's crashed that badly. Might want to look at an alternative. I do want to look at an alternative, I just don't know of any. That's the problem there. So as we return, I will remind everyone, hydration is very important. Available now from the merch store. Hello Great Northern, how are you this evening? I hope you are well. So yes, we were discussing lighting in carriages. James said the problem with capacitors is it could stop in the wrong place. That is a very good point. It could. However, I don't believe any of my layouts have somewhere it will stop in the wrong place. But that also wouldn't solve the problem with how the bogies are set up already. Because at the moment it only picks up on one side on each bogey. So this bogey is picking up this side, and this bogey is picking up this side. I am okay, thanks, Great Northern. I'm having some fun with the streaming software at the moment. But other than that, I'm good. So yeah, at the minute, it suffers with the same issue for pick up as it would if I'm only picking up off the one bogey with a capacitor. And I'll probably get a accessory only decoder so I can turn the lights on and off with DCC. Do recommend using both bogies one way or another. Visible cables are the problem. I might be able to run them underneath, which, you know, that's the most feasible idea. Certainly. Because I do not want them coming up through the compartment where they're going to be seen if I'm having it lit. Let's face it, it's a lot of effort of something I wouldn't normally have. I wouldn't even normally have an interior. But yes, yeah, so it needs its end redoing, which is all these steps are in the wrong place, so they have to come off. Even the lamp irons are in the wrong place for their as-built condition, so they all need to come off. And there's no other details actually on there, it's just the steps and the lamp irons. But the end is the only thing that's different. However, the glazing is not particularly well done. It is not going to show up very well on the camera, I don't think, but these windows are absolutely covered in residue from whatever they've been glued in with. They're also covered in British Rail era no smoking signs, which are no good to me. I've just remembered I need to flip the stream over on my preview TV. I normally do that. When I'm setting up the new stream. There we go, I can see what's going on now. So yes, that is everything this coach needs. What it's getting tonight is some beading on the end. It is now nearly half an hour after we've started. We've done no modelling yet. Let's pick up that knife. With its shiny, brand new blade that we stuck in it before Streamlabs started being a bit rubbish. Because new blades are best blades. As you can see from the fact it's just done that. Whoops, back now with Garrett at Chipmunk speed to catch up. Nothing wrong with playing me super fast speed, you know, I get it on quite well. Everyone can understand me when I'm going really fast, so don't worry about having to play me super fast to catch up. The only problem is when I actually do that, I have to think about what I'm saying whilst I'm doing it. And there we go, doesn't that look nice? All done already, just like that. Or not. But you get where I'm coming from. I wanted to measure it to make sure it actually does fit. Because this is literally a page photocopied out the instructions, because the original kit would have included this end. I've bought it pre-built on eBay. So it's not. The other annoying thing about Streamlabs crashing is that means Streamlabs has not sent the end of stream tag to YouTube, meaning Stream the First with crashed Streamlabs is still displaying as being live. And there's not a lot I can do about it. If you want to go in extra fast, recite Night Mail. I don't know it well enough, unfortunately. I can do the chorus at normal speed, but I wouldn't be able to do it fast. And no, before you ask, I'm not. Even if it is now stuck in my head. Thanks, James. Isn't it nice working with a nice new sharp blade and just being able to do that? Streamlabs plus YouTube equals double annoyance. Indeed it does. And yes, as Red says, what is everyone up to this evening? I do like to know what you're all doing. If anything's going to get stuck in your head, surely Night Mail is one of the better things. That is very true, James. That is very true. Build an engaged track for my layout. How about from a railway carriage and watching the stream in the background? Watching the stream in the background I approve of, definitely. I also approve of building engaged track. Well, actually, I approve of you doing it, as long as I don't have to. Painting B12 Linny gave me. Excellent red. I look forward to seeing it. Bought the Bluebells limited edition wagon yesterday. Very nice wagon. Oh, the gunpowder wagon. Goodness, that's going quickly. Red KLR, it is going quickly, isn't it? Would you not be better making the beading up from micro strip? I would, except the middle row, so this one along here with the windows on it, is round edges. Micro strip isn't. Bluebell reverse wagon is very nice indeed. Yeah, I've been looking at getting one from. I did look at buying one, but they were out of stock when I looked. Yes, the Fireworks 50th anniversary wagon, they still have a few. Yeah, it's good that they got more in after running out. Get semicircular plastic rod. Yeah, but the other side of it's flat. Yeah. So I've got square corners, then round corners, then square corners. Which is rather odd. Not something I expected, but there we go. That's the Brighton being awkward for you. Bought mine yesterday while portering at Sheffield Park. Very nice indeed. I might have to might do that as my video this week, an overview of my Bluebell related stock. Oh, it's not gone through those ones all the way. That's a pain. Never mind. Just because I need a video I can put together reasonably quickly. Whilst I work on my big project that I'm doing. And of course I do actually want to get a video out this week, unlike last week where I did nothing because I tried to make a running video on Oak Hill and it just would not cooperate. Oh, and there's the bot wanting you to smash the like button again, because of course, your likes for the first stream never happened now. Isn't that irritating? I think it's irritating that YouTube would be like this. It'll give me really bad reviews on that stream as well. So look, this stream's been live for 27 hours and barely anyone's watched it. And I'll say, yeah, thanks YouTube. Add me a way to manually destroy it. Hydration, still very, very important. Exclamation mark merch in the chat for a link to the merch store. Use the promotional code BUYSUMMER to get 10% off. Because Teespring felt like giving you 10% off. I didn't. But Teespring did. So, you know, take advantage. Also means we haven't had kittens. That's a good point, James. We hadn't had kittens in this stream until you said that. And now we have some hydration kittens too. And that's buy summer, as if you're waving summer out because it's leaving. For those of you currently sat under 6 foot of water, yes, that's what summer's like. Don't worry about it. It's time to say goodbye and enter the rainy season. But yeah, now is the time to get a mug. Because it's 10% off and I still get all the profits. Forgot it was stream day. Don't worry about it, Becca. There's worse things than forgetting it's stream day. Time to say goodbye. Is that another song you're trying to put into people's heads to displace night mail? No, no it is not. It was me trying to make sure everyone knew what type of buy it was without me having to get my phone again and show the email that Teespring sent me to save you all money. Yeah, gold. Always believe in your soul. You've got the power to know that if I keep even just reciting this, YouTube will strike me for copyright. And I'll be like, do you even know who I am? Look at my ID. Look at my name. Yeah, okay, I'm not the same one as the guy who wrote it, but still, that's not the point. does appear to just be a couple of the corners that are still stuck now. And then that is the beading cut out. And there we are. That's not what I wanted to happen. But that's okay. I mean, it was nearly the first time we've cut out beading and not broke anything. If I put it back here and stick it back to the double-sided tape, we can pretend it's not broken, yeah? There we go. See? Now it actually does go over the end. And it all seems to line up properly, which is double plus good. Because there was a part of me that was worried the windows weren't actually going to line up with the windows. Now all the tape's getting stuck to me. Typical that. Of course I was actually expecting that. Whistling noises, including one that sounds suspiciously like a terrier. Oh, I've not had a notification come up and I didn't hear any whistling noises that sounded like a terrier. I have nothing to tell me I've had a notification. So yes, how are we all doing? Response to the Clanger's command. Ah, fair enough. See, saying it sounds like a terrier confused me because of course my notification alert for donations and subscriptions and stuff is a terrier whistle. A very specific terrier whistle. Everyone's favourite terrier whistle. No, I'm not having a Clanger's command as well. So yes, how are we all doing this evening? There's the donate link. If you want to hear Stepney whistle, the easiest and cheapest way to do it is to follow that donation link and donate some money. Hydration is important. Because the only other way you're going to do it is by restoring Stepney, and that's going to be a bit more expensive. Is that a cheeky enough plug for the donations? In which case we just have to satisfy ourselves with kittens. Oh, I was waiting for something along those lines. I mean, I have a button to test the alerts somewhere. I don't know where it is. What's wrong with Stepney? Everything. If it has it, it needs replacing. Well, hey, and there is a donation from Linny to get Stepney's whistle playing. Thank you very much, Linny. It's very much appreciated. Even if I am just plugging it for the sake of a joke, thank you for playing along and donating. It really does mean a lot. It helps keep the channel running. So the whole locomotive needs replacing. Basically, yeah. The reason Stepney has sat to not be used for so long is because it's knackered. Frames, boiler, wheels, steam chest, firebox, pistons. I heard it would be cheaper to rebuild Stepney rather than overhaul the original. That's certainly true of the Adams Radial. They have actually looked into that and discovered that it would be genuinely be cheaper to build a new one. It wouldn't surprise me with Stepney, because there is that much wrong with it. Like most pre-grouping locos, it just isn't worth the expense and risk of future damage. And yet, because it's Stepney, it will get done at some point. Because Stepney has celebrity status. Because some reverend at some point in time chose to put it in a book or something. I don't know what it's all about. But that makes it a public draw on its own, apparently. Stepney was also their first loco, yes. But the reason they give for always returning Stepney to traffic sooner than anything else normally would is its celebrity status. Those are the words they use. Perhaps the ones for which that is true should go to the NRM. Would the NRM have space for all of them? Let's be honest. Does that mean 11 terriers and 2 radials? Let's hope for Fenchurch's return. Hey, well, Fenchurch is started, isn't it? They started ripping it apart for the restoration. I remember when Stepney was running, I have pictures. Yes, I have been up and seen it running the last time it was running. Went on brake van ride and everything. Excellent. James have mentioned the forbidden group of NRM. Free Gladstone. Funny you should say that, because just up here, I have a picture of Gladstone taken outside the sheds at Sheffield Park when it went to visit Stepney. The sheds at Sheffield Park don't look like that anymore, though. That was a long time ago. Stepney did nothing wrong, doesn't deserve to be NRM'd. The NRM where good trains go to die. The NRM had no space, they could lend it out to some of their other things to preservation railways. Yeah, but that would require their other things to work. The shove box in the corner, what would they do to Stepney? Exactly. Good evening, Thomas. How are you this evening? I hope you are well. I too approve of Gladstone, James. I'm glad you do. So, all these steps, they need to come off. I'm kind of hoping they haven't been attached properly, but I'm not counting on it. They very much have been attached properly. That's going to cause issues with all this paint on here. Oh, when they decided to let it hit fresh air, that's rich. Good, thank you, sir. How the devil are you this evening? I am not too bad, thank you, other than the technical issues we have. I assume I still have 2 live streams running because Streamlabs. So yes, I need to get some paint off of this. Because all these parts that I need to remove are clearly soldered on, and soldered on properly. Let's at least attempt to straighten that one out though. The question is it acrylic paint? Which it looks like acrylic paint. So I'm hoping it is. It looks like it's been applied by brush and it's got a very matte finish. Gladstone is a pretty loco, from being named after a man who liked to hit people with his cane in the street. Gladstone is a pretty loco for any loco, regardless of name. I mean, you wouldn't hit people if you had a cane. So yes, I'm hoping for acrylic, meaning this will all just come away and I'm not worried about destroying the windows because, as I said, the glazing needs replacing anyway. So the black is definitely acrylic because the black has come off all the steps. The steps are now brass. The red, however, has been a bit more stubborn. But I think it is also coming away slowly. Surprised none of the companies made Gladstone yet, especially Bachmann. I'd buy that too. You guys aren't hitting people with your cane, only because I don't have one, Javier. Gladstone would have to be commissioned by the NRA and is very unlikely to be done. I think it's up there. I definitely think it's one of those that will happen at some point. Got itself in a Triang catalogue once. Not as a product, just as a picture. God, as I get down on this, I'm actually going to feel bad unsoldering some of this because that is beautifully done. but we're getting there. See kids, if you work hard, when you grow up, you too can destroy other people's beautifully made, handcrafted models. Very true, Alex. Hopefully they commission it for an anniversary or birthday. First time watcher and post, you'd be looking at eye-watering out for an RTR model of Gladstone. You would well, you certainly wouldn't be looking at a cheap amount. You'd probably be, I mean, if it came out today, you'd probably be looking about £200. But yes, welcome James Beeston to the channel. Good to have you here. I hope you are well. You join us on a night when I'm attempting to relax with some smaller projects. Which of course means we've had lots of technical issues this evening rather than modelling issues. But right now we are stripping down the end of this so that we can remove the details on it, which although correct for the BR version the original builder was doing it in, are not correct for the LBSC condition I am doing it in. Better question, what would you consider eye-watering? That's a good point. Eye-watering prices are certainly different for different people. As per usual, CAD modelers have vouched for modern iteration pre-grouping engines. Of course, I already have two Brighton B1s, so I could take it or leave it. I would take it, obviously, but my eyes are watering looking at Reiki. Great North Scotland carriages, but they're so pretty. Oh, go on, Linny. You know you want to. Sure, one of us on the Discord will get to it eventually. Ah, the gem kit's a nice kit. Yeah, that is absolutely beautifully done. But I can at least get it all off now. Poop just lost a ratio Midland Loco on eBay. Yeah, they do get quite expensive, those, don't they? I know what one you're on about. I saw it on there. But I'm not in the state to be bidding at the minute. Gosh, we now have the same number of Jameses as Alexes. That's quite a thing. It is, isn't it, James? Good rule of thumb for going after ratio mid and low eBay, but have a lot of money to spare. Yeah, agreed. But they're 1850s coaches withdrawn by the 1890s. That sounds even better, Linny. Do it. Very niche market for them to produce, sale to cover the cost. Eye-watering in 200 plus. However, I also do German HO, and that's cheap for a tank loco. The gem kit isn't HO. No, that's true, Javier. It is double O, but it's a very, very nice kit. You're strange for being American and wanting it in HO. Right, let's get this soldering iron heating up so I can get these steps off. Do Alice? Someone snuck in last minute. Oh, that's very irritating of them. Well, for once, you can be sure it wasn't me, because I'm here right now doing this. You can see, I'm not bidding, my hands are here. And always were. I'm going to lose the K's Goods Loco too. Oh, that's a shame. I saw that one on there as well. I'm losing all these things because A, I've spent this month's budget, and B, I'm a bit busy being here to be bidding on eBay. There is something ending next Sunday that I want though. Which is a pain because it ends at about 10 o'clock. God, how do I do this with only two hands? A bit like that, but also without the grip going. NRM Rapido Sterling single was 230, worth every penny. Oak Hill bidding war stream 2020. No, trust me, the thing I want that ends next Sunday will not invoke a bidding war. There we go. Let's put that to the side and see if we can save that, because I think we can use steps like that on the as-built version. The big one in the middle is a bit different though, we can't use that. There we go, put that to the side as well. So these have been absolutely beautifully attached. It's a shame I'm having to do this. Should all clean up just fine though, looking at it. Is it bad that I see this ending horribly? No, it's fine. It's a brass kit, it can take the abuse. It's a very well built brass kit for that matter. I knew the lamp irons would pull out, there's just not enough surface for them to have a decent enough grip. It's alright, Thomas, he makes these mistakes so we don't have to. Well, it's fine. It's all ending fine. But yeah, I do make these mistakes so you don't have to. car, this one does not want to come loose. The solder there is staying very firmly solid. Turn it all the way up. Got my offer accepted for 2 scratch-built Great Northern Railway coaches that aren't best condition, but for under a fiver I think I've done well. Excellent! That does sound like you've done well. Keep hoping some incomplete ratio Midland kits come up so I can get cheap. Just want the tenders. What do you want the tenders for? And not the locos? There we go. Turning it up did the trick. What Linny said is like a civil service. Right, so there's just a little bit of solder on there left to clean up, which we shall just file down flat. Oh, when I say little bit, there's 2 big lumps. There we go, much better. Almost as if it was all never there. And on that note, hydration is important. The merch shop still exists. That offer from Teespring is still on. Water tanks at the shed. Got a lot of photos of them using old tenders as water tanks. Ah, interesting. I like that idea. Indeed, scratch built stuff usually goes for a fortune. I was lucky when I got number 10, got scratch built 462T for about 40 quid. Well built scratch built stuff goes for a fortune. Yes. Apparently made of thin bits of wood by the seller's late father. Oh wow. Interesting indeed. I did get myself what I like to consider a bargain the other day, courtesy of a link Linny posted to my Discord. For those that don't know, I have a Discord for the channel. We have a wonderful community there. !Discord in the chat to get a link. Otherwise it's oakhillmodelrailway.co.uk/Discord to join the server. See, I do know what I'm talking about occasionally. And there we have most of our beading. But yes, I got myself some K's LBSC four-wheelers. They've not arrived yet. They're due on Tuesday, I believe. A rake of 5 of them for 50 quid. I was very happy with that. Very happy indeed. There we go. Peel the dried glue off the top. And then we shall put the glue on the workbench and use the famous Oak Hill Model Railway pin to apply it to the back of the beading. Cover all of the beading with the glue because whilst we're not using loads of it, but we do want to make sure everywhere is stuck. And so a couple of places at the bottom there haven't stuck, that's fine, we can use the pin again. Just put a little bit more glue behind them. we have a tiny bit more beading to attach where we snapped it here. We can see on the carriage where that bit's going to go. So we will paint a line there and then stick it on, and there we go. One carriage with beading. It will look fine once it's painted, I assure you. And I would like to point out that that did end well. I mean, it needs detailing up, but it ended well. Just scrape off the glue there so we don't stick anything else to it. And once again, hydration is still important because there wasn't really much left with that last lot I had. And it's important to be hydrated. So yes, that is step one of the push-pull carriage that will actually go with this terrier. That is why this terrier is out, because they are going to go together as a pair. But let's have a change of pace. Let's stick some paint on here, because why not? I'm trying out a slightly different colour than my usual for my lavender grey, I believe is what the Brighton called it. I've just remembered this corner isn't soldered properly, so we need to solder that. So we'll turn the iron on, but all the way down the bottom. This paint may actually need some stirring as well as shaking. It's been a while since it's been used. Right, there's the iron heated to where it needs to be. It is only heated to the bottom, to its lowest, because we are dealing with white metal. The good thing about that is I can hold that by hand whilst applying the white metal solder. I can't hold it for too long, or if I heat it up for too long, but the idea is to not heat it up. And there we go, that is stuck together. You must have misspelled flux. Oh yeah, you did misspell flux kittens, James. It doesn't need flux because I'm applying it over the solder that's already there rather than onto the wagon, so it's fine. I do like push-pull coaches, might try and modify an old form before wheel coach into one if I feel confident enough. Ah, excellent, go for it. I would enjoy seeing that if you manage it. That would be very good. Yeah, this is a paint that has not been used for a very, very, very long time. Let's see what the state of it is. It's a blooming full tub. It has never been used. Never, ever, 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 ever. Flux Kittens. Muses. I want to get an CR push-pull set from Roxy, but price and making them. Well, I can help with one of those things, and it's not the price. Poor disappointed Flux Kittens. They so enjoy the sizzle. But yeah, this is a tub of paint that has never been used, and well, how long has it been since Humbrol tins looked like that? So, it's not exactly a new tin. Now, I don't know what this colour's going to be like on here. I'm not even going to use one of my new brushes for it. It's going to get one of... In fact, no, that's the brush I use for gloss. I probably shouldn't use that. I will use one of the new ones. Because I don't want to put the varnish brush on it. Blue tack. At least the mid-90s. Well, yeah, exactly. So this paint has been sat around in my collection for some time. Should I be priming this white metal? Probably. Am I going to? No. Why? Because I forgot and all my primer is spray. So whilst we are set up in the living room still, I cannot do spraying on stream. Otherwise I actually would. I think the manufacturers are missing the trick. We're not making a push-pull coach. It would enable modelers to have a single coach train without having to get the loco the other end of the train. Hornby have done a couple of different push-pull sets. Somewhere I have a tin from about 1961, slate grey. So this is why I like enamels. Because, you know, this is a tin of paint that's sat for that long and is absolutely fine. And actually, I think the colour's quite good. Is that not Humbrol number 1 you're using there? It is not. It is number 145. Had tins of enamel that were brand new that were completely set solid when they got opened. I have never had that. I only ever had problems with acrylics. And that is purely from when they've got... Well, I've had problems with acrylics when they've got old and gone solid. And I've had problems when Hornby were having a dodgy batch. And some of their colours were just completely naff. But I have never had a problem like that with enamels. It was actually a couple of them going naff that made me move over to try using acrylics in the first place. And I have never looked back. But yes, I found this one and thought I'd try it out. It's slightly bluer than the Humbrol primer, and I think it looks rather good. Modern Humbrol enamels are awful. I use their white and black and I don't have problems with them. Admittedly, most of my painting these days is Phoenix rather than Humbrol, but I do still use the Humbrol white and black and greys. Oh yes, Chinese production where they were only comparing each batch paint against the previous batch, not the test cards, so they ended up with green leather. It was around that time, but it was more of a separation and a lumpiness issue. But yeah, it was Chinese moving over to Chinese manufacture issues. But yes, I'm rather happy with that as a colour for the lavender grey. Indeed, that is very nice. Let's stick that there and clean my brush. Don't worry, it's not actually this dirty. It's only about half full. And let's clean up that spot there. So yes, I do think that looks quite good on there, so I think I'll be sticking with that for my lavender grey, I'm assuming. Should the sole bars not also be grey? Looks like you've left them unpainted. You might be right, actually. Yeah, look, I painted that one. I remembered to paint one of them. It's a good job I left it this way round so you could remind me. Because otherwise you'd have seen the other side and been like, no, he's done then. And I've actually done even most of it on this side. But yes, you're quite right, sole bars should also be grey. And probably the first bit of the buffers as well. Oh, missed a bit there, but other than that, yeah. I did remember to do that one, which was obviously the first side I did. But yeah, in my memory of seeing things in the past when you could go out and see exhibitions and stuff, that's a lot closer to the lavender grey I've seen other people do than what I have been using. Linny pointed out mistakes in Remember kids, wooden cell bars and buffer beams are normally body colour. It's only steel ones that were black. Indeed it is. And this being an 1860s wagon is very much wooden cell bars. And it fits in with what we're actually supposed to be doing, because it will be the brake van, or one of the brake vans, for the train that goes behind the loco we're supposed to have been working on. Pop that away. And let's do some transfers. We're doing a bit of everything this evening. Bring the water to somewhere better. Better, he says. Not sure it's better. Painting finished, B12 photos incoming on Discord. Ah, excellent. I shall look forward to seeing them later. And let us start with just one set of the transfers. I have got multiple because they are old transfers. I also now have my picture of how it's supposed to look. So, does that fit how I'm expecting it to? Yes, so the Bradford's name goes in 3 parts. So we will cut that into its 3 individual parts and try and use them like that. BRA on this panel, DFO goes across the door, RDS goes off this side. That's the theory. Now, as I say, when I got this wagon, which is a 5 and 9 wagon for those that don't remember, from Chris Cox, he did say, I've got the transfers for that one, but they are very old, they might fall apart. I'll include some spares. So if this doesn't go well, that's fine. It is at least partially expected. So there is the name cut down in its appropriate pieces, and for the same reason I don't want to put all these bits in and leave them soaking for too long, just in case. But I also don't want to leave them too short a time for the same reason. Basically, we're expecting lots and lots of fun from these. So those go there. With no inclination of moving. Fine, we'll give you a bit longer to soak. It's all good fun, isn't it? So if you've got any more projects now that you've finished that, then Red, we all want to know. I want to know what the rest of you are up to as well. Anyone else got anything going on? Alex is probably still sat at a red light on Train Sim. There we go, we've got some movement from this now. Still building engaged track. As I say, James, I fully approve of you building engaged track, as long as I don't have to. Right, let's get the next bit in there. I have the course scale J17 halfway through and some building as far as KLR stuff goes. Oh, of course you do. Excellent. Gave up with that awful scenario ages ago. Still getting cheesed off with the game though. Bodging some pre-1923 wagons. Ah, the best type of wagons are pre-1923 wagons. Do I have a date on this one? I don't know why my laptop's just told me I've plugged something into it, but I haven't. So there's a photo of this wagon in 1902, but I knew it was earlier than that anyway because it's a dumb buffered wagon. Now you have me interested in the pre-grouping wagon nerd. I have been summoned. Oh, I did wonder if that would pique your interest, Linny. And Wagon Bodger just slid into the Discord. Well, hey, I assume that's you, James. If you're sitting there bodging wagons as we speak, I approve of joining the Discord. I especially approve of pre-1923 wagon bodging of any type, never mind wagons. That is not ready to go just yet. So it turns out that the reason my laptop thought I'd plugged something in was because the tablet I'm using as a second monitor decided to install an update and restart itself. It's good that, isn't it? Let's get that one in now as well, because these are taking quite a while to soak. I approve of pre-grouping wagon nerds. They are the best type of wagon nerds, James, you're right. Mildly grumpy as I got fed up waiting for the Kerno LSWR breakdown and started cadding one up myself a few weeks back. Fortunately, I didn't spend all that long on it. Well, you know why that's got pushed, don't you, Lily? Because, of course, Kerno did hire a new person into a management position for their own stuff very recently. Indeed, Mr. Muzz. Oh look, and there's a link to the Patreon, courtesy of the chatbot. Isn't that nice of you, chatbot? You're so cute, thinking people will sign up to my Patreon. Happens occasionally. It's very much appreciated when it does. Very much looking forward to Kerno Van, although the best sort of nerds, pre-grouping carriage nerds. Oh, Linny is also one of them, so you're fine, James. Me too, although mine will get renumbered, but it's very nice. Yes, it is a very nice looking thing, even if it does need stuff doing to it. Because I'm one of those two. Wagons of many companies for the SDJR layout. Oh, excellent. I approve of the SDJR. Those 4 letters always get me interested. Yeah, I thought they might, Alex. They're very nice letters, aren't they? Take LSWR instead. You're all too picky. Just take all the pre-grouping companies. They're all great. Every single one of them. Whilst we wait for that to soak, remember, hydration is important. It says Oak Hill Model Railway. And we all know you want a mug with a terrier on it, because everyone wants a mug with a terrier on it. Stop lying to yourself. Hit !merch in the chat and buy yourself a mug with a terrier on it. Use the promo code BUYSUMMER at the checkout to get 10% off. Until 11:59 tonight, US Pacific time. SCJR combined both LSWR and MR is the best of both worlds. It is a very good mix, yes. If you like the SCJR, excellent O-gauge layout of Bath Green Park on YouTube. There is, I have seen that. Don't know if they're all great. I hear there was some line into Brighton that had ideas above their station. No, they had ideas in their station. None of them were above. Unless you're talking about the Great Western, they ran into Brighton, of course. Do you like a bit of LSWR? MR was splendid too. I approve of James. Oh, I do. Do I have to ban myself now? You might have to, Linny. Yes. Station B in London Bridge, I assume. Rather have a mug with a coal tank on it. No, you wouldn't. No, not that buy. Buy summer, get winter free. I'm on the interweb and stumbled across the Aching Verse wiki. I've got some reading to do. The Aching Verse car. Despite the fact I built the Aching Verse wiki, manage the Aching Verse wiki, and host the Aching Verse wiki, I forget it exists quite frequently. Forgotten that existed. Really should update some of that. Yeah, same. I've got a lot of stuff on there that needs updating. Free to bet with any purchase of a nation of greater or equal value. Thing with me was the fact that the family worked on the ginties built for them. Ah, excellent. That is always a good reason when you have a family connection. I approve of family connections. And there we go. Mr. Bradford has a name on a wagon. I didn't know that it existed at all until now. I still have no idea what it is. Aching Verse, that sounds painful. It is an extended model railway universe named after one of the layouts that is a part of it. Someone, as a joke, suggested building a wiki, making a wiki for it. And to back up their joke, they went and did some edits on Wikipedia to include things from it. And I said, well, you know, I could actually make you a wiki to play with. And whilst they said no, everyone else said yes, so I did. I approve of Mr. Bradford and family connections to the LBSCR. I approve of family connections to anywhere. But yes, family connections to the LBSCR are great, James. I very much approve of those because it means I get to model your family members on my layouts. Once upon a time, I added some stuff to the Akinverse timeline. No idea if it's still there. I don't believe anyone's removed anything from it. So I would assume so. My great-great-grandfather was a signalman on the LBSCR. He started in the 1870s. Indeed, you have mentioned him before, and that is purely why I mentioned modelling your family members on my layouts. Started as a porter. Ah, interesting. Very interesting indeed. I actually found the other day a fireman at Eastbourne Shed from 1911 shares a name with one of my viewers. A full name is exactly the same. I did send them a message with mention of them and said I didn't realise you were that old. They did not deny being the same person. So, you know. Still don't know if you want me to check. No, it's fine. John, he was called. Right, so he's not just Signalman Pets anymore, he's John Pets. Right. Oh look, the tablet's back on. And yes, so it was a fireman in Eastbourne Shed, which is the local shed to where my exhibition layout is set. My exhibition layout being Hailsham, for those that don't remember or are new here. And it's the same time period as my exhibition layout. Which I think means I need said person on a footplate. I even know exactly what loco he fired regularly, so we go Mr. Bradford now has a hometown of Eastbourne. I'm sure that'll make him very happy. I've heard some people enjoy being in Eastbourne. I was there yesterday. So it's not all bad. My great-granddad was track crew on the LNER over World War II. Oh, wow. Wow, wow, wow. That must have been exhausting work. Having to go out and repair things as the Germans tried their best to undo everything. Since we've had mention of the summer and the winter, and the fact I went to Eastbourne yesterday, there was a tornado in Eastbourne yesterday. What is up with the weather recently? As far as I know, none of my family are on the railways. Generation of weavers, mainly miners and farm workers. Yeah, I'm not aware of any direct connections to the railway. My family has more of a military background for the last few generations, and then we spike one of the branches that comes off are all fishermen, and always have been. Although that did also include a lot of them going into the Navy during the wars. Tornadoes, earthquakes. We never had any earthquake. Oh yeah, no, we did, didn't we? Yeah, we had that earthquake recently. God, I forgot about the earthquake. But yeah, there was a tornado yesterday. God, I can't believe I forgot we had an earthquake. It's a decent size earthquake as well. It was offshore, so it didn't feel like a decent size earthquake. End of the world, people just don't want to see it, head firmly in the sand. I mean, there's worse places to have your head if it's all going down anyway. Fair few in the military as well, yeah. So my 4 times great uncle was on the hood when it went down. I think it's... No, it can't be 4 times great uncle. 3 times? Either way, he was on the hood when it went down. I only discovered that recently. I imagine not 60163 tornado. No, unfortunately not. Although we've had that down this way a few times in the past. I have seen it up close when it's come down. But that is not the type of tornado we had yesterday in Eastbourne. People should face the end, staring death square in the face. Nah. I don't want to. I want to be able to see where these digits are on here. Right, I think that's where we want it to cut. Yeah, that's fine. And this is of course the tear number and is the final transfer for this side of this wagon. I should have given it a gloss coat, I think, first, because these are more normal transfers that like things like that. Don't think we've had a tornado here before. I say that, now my house will be in the air tomorrow morning. It will, you've jinxed it now. Heard my dad's relative was on Sheffield when we were hunting the Bismarck. Ah! Very interesting. Yeah, so I only recently found out he was on the hood. I knew he was in the Navy and obviously went down with his ship. I didn't realise until very recently that it was the hood that he was on. And there we have a full set of transfers on that side. That is how she is meant to look. Relative went down in the channel of his aircraft, but we won't say which side. It's long enough ago that I won't hold it against you. As mentioned, my great granddad was at York when the sheds were bombed. He was part of the salvage crew that cleared the wreckage of Sir Ralph. Wow. My granddad's brother Eric fought in France, evacuated from Dunkirk, sent to Singapore, captured when it fell, and spent time working on the Burma Death Railway. Blimey, that's a career and a half. And hydration is important, says the bot. I had a relative in the First World War. I can't remember the exact relation because, you know, quite a while ago. But he was a stoker in the Navy. Went out, fought at Jutland. Came back on leave not long after Jutland. And went out in a rowing boat with his brother off of Eastbourne. Just to have some fun, the pair of them. They got washed away and neither of them were ever seen again. So surviving Jutland to go down on a rowing boat. 6 relatives fought in the Second World War, at least 5 in the First and 1 in the Second Boer War. I had quite a few in the First World War that I know of. There is 6 relatives of mine listed on the Menin Gate in Ypres. Which, for those that don't know, is where all the people whose bodies were not found got their names listed. It's a very big gate. Relative in World War One on our sub, J6 died birthday 15th October 1918 after a mistake thinking the J was a U. Kind of want to make a joke about you being born in 1918 now. I'm not going to. My paternal grandfather fought in the Second World War. Was in Dunkirk. God. That must have been horrific being at Dunkirk. Ypres is indeed a very moving place, Alex. You are quite right. I have had the honour of standing at the Menin Gate in Ypres for the last post in full uniform. And it was a very special moment. Still gives me goosebumps thinking about it. My maternal grandfather was originally a conscientious objector but later changed his mind. He then failed the medical for the army and spent the war working in steelworks. One of his jobs at the steelworks was to light the fire in their industrial shunting engine every morning. So at first he didn't want to fight and then was told he couldn't. Blooming typical that, isn't it? Still, you've got to play with trains, so every day you get to play with trains is a good day. That's not ready yet. No matter how much it wants to be. We are passing into our final hour already. My God, I didn't realise it had been that long. Approve of playing with trains, indeed. How could you not approve of playing with trains? After the war he was a bus conductor. It's a bit different, though also slightly the same, because transport. Yes, I would hope everyone here approves of playing with trains. Now, I hope you all at least have some passing interest in railways. Be a bit weird if you were sat here watching this when you didn't. Wild Rover looks lovely red, lovely neat paint job. Ah, I'm looking forward to seeing that even more now. Oh no, it's caught. There we go. Hoping to get me some war trains, Backman ambulance train, Oxford's railgun. Ah, yes. Very nice. I have considered both of those things. But I'm trying to keep focused on getting things that are more needed for my exhibition layout. Whereas those would just be for fun. I approve of transport. Indeed, James, as do I. Transport on the whole is a good thing. I approve of public transport. Despite decrying it and driving a big old diesel van. Thankfully now I could line that well. I didn't have raised areas as a guide. Ah, we all learn somewhere. Red, I remember days when I could only line if I had a raised bit up as a guide. Used to have the ambulance train set, still have the World War I railgun. So they're both things I've considered. I approve of James approving of seemingly everything. It is good, isn't it? I also approve of that, Red. I do enjoy when James approves of something. I have in the past considered making James his own command that just says I approve of that. I've never actually got round to doing it, but I've thought of doing it. I approve of Red's approval of my approval of things. Oh, brilliant. I'm glad you approve, James. I approve of your approval of Red's approval of your approval. Approve of commands. Yeah, I'll do a PPE one day. PPE is important, everyone. PPE, very important. Not important enough that I've launched my own range of it, which has genuinely been an option from Teespring. But that's more because it would feel a bit icky profiting right now off of masks. So while I could theoretically add masks to my merch store, I have chosen not to. Approval loop, yep. Think if I decide to hand paint lining, good quality masking tape will be my best friend. Indeed, and for good quality masking tape, I can very much recommend the stuff that Gauge Master sell. Awesome stuff. I approve of approval infinite regress. Yeah. PPE, because fingers and eyes are important. Indeed, Linny. Are they though? Yeah, yes they are. No, Alex, PPE is important because remember that time that Luke didn't wear goggles? Because I remember that. And all I can say about that is I keep goggles on the workbench now. Interesting, is Gauge Master masking tape any better than Tamiya? I think it's exactly the same stuff, actually, to be completely honest. Gauge Master don't do their own stuff, do they? So it is probably exactly the same stuff. I use Frog Tape Professional, which I nick from work. That is a good way of getting it. Can I point out men used to build ships wearing nothing but flat cap, generations of weaklings? Irrelevant. I think it's the same. You are probably right. I say Gauge Master don't make their own stuff. What happened re Luke and Goggles? Well, Luke was doing some metal work at college and did not wear the goggles that he was supposed to be wearing. And then had to go to hospital, where they left it in for about a week. And yeah, PPE is important. Nothing but a flat cap. That reminds me of the In the Navy song. You know what I mean. Oh, look, there's a link to Instagram. They're wearing nothing but a flat cap. I think you're looking at photos in the wrong industry. Mim would go down the mines with a lamp, cap, and a pasty. Just got on with it. What doesn't kill you makes you stronger. Oh, but the mines did kill them, you see, Alex. They certainly didn't get made any stronger because of it. And they took a canary with them. And there we go, one Bradford's wagon, all transferred up on both sides. They both look the same, you don't need another close-up. But we're getting somewhere, we're making some progress this evening on small projects. You won't see that Bradford's wagon on stream again, ever. The mines did kill them frequently and horribly, exactly, Red. What doesn't kill you makes you stronger. That's not true. You know all those people that have been in terrible accidents and been paralysed? They're not stronger for it. They didn't all take canaries. That would be a lot of canaries. They took enough canaries. Don't believe me, listen to Driving the Last Spike by Genesis. I never said they didn't die. You kind of made the point. People just accepted it as part of life. Yeah, whereas now, personally, this is just me. I consider my life more valuable than the mine owner's pound. Just me. Why not seeing the Bradford's wagon again? Because it's done. All I've got left to do is add a load to it. So it won't appear on stream again. Look at how badly that old tin of white paint went. That was appalling. I'm turning this round and never looking at it. And I'm going to grab a decent tin of white paint. We are weak and doughy. Yes, and people have always been weak and doughy. That's the problem. I'm very doughy. Because, of course, the biggest problem with my analogy is I am the mine owner. Silly paintbrush is all hard. Let me crack that so it's not so hard. There we go. Won't there ever be operating streams? Oh, that's a point. We have discussed that before. I need an operating layout to use it on first. That's so much nicer with a decent tin of paint. Right, I'm disengaging ramp mode. TSW is annoying me again. Fair enough, Alex. Flesh is weak, indeed, Red, indeed it is. And hello, Mr. Sin, how are you this evening? Welcome. I hope you are well. You join us on our relaxing smaller projects, of which we've already played with a couple. And now we're just teasing a third. I'm not actually going to sit and paint all these panels white. Because that would be a bit much, don't you think? But this carriage was built some time ago, possibly nearly a year ago, on the live stream. It's about time it saw some form of progress. It is often sitting in the wings waiting for 5 minutes of time where it can be worked on. But of course, when your next job for it is paint panelling like this, it does not make for the most thrilling viewing. Flesh is naught but a vessel for the Emperor's wheel. So they're going to get to be white. I'll get there eventually. Doesn't all have to be done in one go, does it? I mean, if you want me to sit here and paint every panel of it now, I mean, I'm not sure what else I'd be doing. This is the 4th project we have worked on tonight. And they've certainly done their job of me avoiding having to do valve gear. Which I'm sure we'll get on to next week. Although I'm genuinely not making any promises, it will depend how I'm feeling. Someone hit fast forwards, please. See, this is my point, Red. Is that we don't all want to sit here and watch this. I'm glad someone agrees with me. I'm going to finish this block of panels and then we're going to do something else. Do something else. Do something else. I don't know what. But this is very much a fill 5 minutes at a time project. There we go, so if I just do under the doors, so that is all of these sections done. It has made some progress and is ready for next time. Trust me, this is vastly more interesting than most scenarios in TSW2. I'll be honest, I'd be insulted if my content wasn't better than Dovetails. What have we got? Still paint on there. Don't want paint to still be on there. That's how these things get dirty and go hard and stuff. That's better. There's no paint on there now. Fair point. Oh no, I put the bit of paper I want out of reach. And I've left the solvent iron on. Let's turn that off. Because I don't need that now. Ah, so it turns out that we don't get any steps on the brake end of this carriage. They were only added later. The steps are on the compartment end. Which it does also have. So these steps, which are actually in surprisingly good condition considering how I pulled them off, can go there. Just arriving at Lewis, 10-mile-an-hour limits are really tedious. Fun. What we want is 3 lamp irons in different locations to the ones we've removed. And we ripped them out so they're not going back on, they were just staples anyway. And a whistle up at the top. Oh, and it needs windscreen wipers at some point. But that is sort of all we want on this end. Oh, and a brake pipe, I've got loads of those. But before we do that, we're going to do a bit more destroying of someone's lovely craft work. Pull out all the windows. Okay, the windows weren't actually that lovely. They always bugged me. Even when I saw it available for auction, I saw the windows were a bit naff. And these truly are. I mean, in some places they're smaller than the apertures they're supposed to be covering. But the biggest problem is that they are going to show up. They are far from clear. There is so much residue on them that they need. It's one of those. It wouldn't be too bad if there was no interior like I normally do. It's still got a lot of residue. But I think you'd get away with it more. If you know what I'm saying. But that extra detail inside, it makes it stand out. There's some great flange wheel going through the station though. Are you on goods, are you? Because the goods line on there is really tight. Lewis. Random thought, could you potentially make proper glazing for a coach using a vacuum former? In theory, yes. think I get exactly what you're saying. You could, in theory, make vacuum form glazing, yes. And in fact, Red, for all your Triang stuff, there is vacuum formed glazing available to buy from Southeastern Finecast. Did a lot of flush glazing kits. Well, that bit was stuck to the seat. Want a 377 but going non-stop through a 10-mile-an-hour limit. Ah, fair enough. So this window that's mostly open, he's still modelled the full sheet of glass there, going all the way down to the floor. Because it needed that. Okay, look, I'll take this one out and I'll put you back in a minute. But yeah, the goods line through Lewis follows the curvature. It's one of the tracks from the old station, which was a tighter curvature, and it is like train set style curves. But it is a goods only line. But even so, it's not the. It's still a reasonably tight bend through that station, regardless. That whole partition wall's come away. I don't think I'll get the whole of you out, so I'll just have to stick you back in a minute. But yeah, whatever was used for this was not as good as the Deluxe Materials glue and glaze for going invisible. There we go. I haven't played around with the goods on this yet. So, yeah, that's when you'll get the really tight ones. Assuming it's routed properly. This is TS after all. My God, Alex going on to Discord on a Sunday. It must be important. So this window is basically white. And half of it stayed behind. So what's everyone else up to now then? As I rip these windows out. Do tell. As I say, I do genuinely find these things interesting. Still going on the engaged tracks. I'm very tempted to build a track for the new Oak Hill when that gets replaced. I don't think I would in Engage. Offering chassis advice. Fair enough. It's good to have people around that know these things. Easier on Engage, you get to cast crossing frogs. You can get pre-built crossing frogs in Double O. I think I'd want to try and make my own frogs, at least at first. But C&L do them pre-built. And there we go. She has no windows. Which is going to make painting it a bit easier as well. Not the reason we did it, but, you know, if there's an advantage, we're going to take it. So yes, as I say, the next thing we want to do is lamp irons. And for lamp irons, we want staples. Windowless wonder. I mean, technically it's got windows. They're just always open. Kind of the opposite of a modern train. So yes, lamp irons I make out of staples. It's nice and easy. We just bend it to the shape we want. We'll poke a hole in the carriage and we can stick it through. And I do believe we want to go with this size drill bit. we will always, of course, double check that. Yes, that's the size we want. Nothing couldn't achieve the bricks in enough time. What I liked once is that someone once told me that the reason they don't open is because if people were opening the windows, it would interfere with the air conditioning. Which I thought was the best excuse ever. Next they'll be telling me that they actually use the air conditioning occasionally. So we actually want 6 lamp irons on this. There are 3 down at buffer beam level, 2 slightly higher up, and 1 just above where the middle step was. Right, I think I will be able to do that. I'm just trying to work out how I can hold this carriage safely. Because of course I want enough force that the drill's not sliding around everywhere, but also little enough force that we're not bending everything. I wonder, there's some glue on that, I wonder if I can get an indent in there with the pin. To stop the drill from wandering. No. No, we cannot. But we won't give up that easy, we'll give it one last try. It does not appear to have done anything. No, that's no good. What if there is not an amount of force that is both things? Well, that's the problem, James. That is indeed the problem. This is one of those jobs where I wish I'd have had the carriage from new. I can just about balance it on my anvil, which might do the job. The problem is going to be holding everything. If it was still flat packed, this wouldn't be such an issue. That did not work, unfortunately. The bot says hydration is important. especially if it comes out of a mug that says hydration is important, which you can get. I'm really pushing that today, aren't I? Right, stay safe, nice stream. Okay, thanks for coming, J94. See you again next time. Has been great to have you here. I've just seen that seat sitting there and remembered I've got to stick that back in and stick this back together. Let's do that quickly. That won't take 2 seconds. It'll take slightly longer, but shush, don't bring facts into it. Again, we're not going to use loads of glue, we're just going to apply it with the pin. Cow says moo, the sheep says bad, the bot says hydration is important. Well, I'd like to think that in their own way, all 3 are correct. Now, whether that's true or not is a completely another matter. But we won't worry about things like that. There we go. Now let's get a bit more glue on the seam now that it's in place. It says peep. The clanger says indistinguishable whistling noises. Yeah, I can't whistle enough to pretend to be a clinger. A clanger. There we go. Words do work from my mouth, he says. Gonna do these end ones first, they should be easier. Gonna do this end one first, I can see that position better. There we go, that's through. Now we can... Yeah, that's perfect. God, does not want to go from there, we go. Just wanted to wait until it could prove me wrong, didn't it? Yep, fits nicely. So that's 2 of the 6 with holes ready for them now. We want one just above the coupling hook. That does not want to go in. Very much does not want to go in there. says one wants to go on each side. No, it doesn't want to go in there either. That's fighting me and blooming pulling the beading away. Well, that's no fun, is it? It's times like this I wish I actually had etched ones that I could solder. What we're going to do instead is to give my hand a rest. We're going to make a couple and stick them into the holes we've made. And so all we've done is bend it into an L shape. We apply some glue. And in theory it goes in the hole. And there is one lamp iron. See, I do know what I'm doing. We have just over 15 minutes until the end of the stream. So as I say, we grip it in the pliers, bend. That's not bent where I wanted it to, and it has in fact snapped because it bent at the bend in the staple. It's not very often I get one that actually bends there. I must have done these ones slightly different size to usual. So it bends through 90 degrees. And then slice it off. And of course, whatever end is going through the hole, it doesn't really matter how big it is, because most of it's going to be inside the carriage. If you stick it in too far, you can just put the knife down behind it. That's not the case for that one, so I don't actually want to do it. Nice and simple, and it does save the cost of etched ones, which can be more reasonably expensive for what they are. I am determined to get this lamp iron in. I just make an indent in there to stop it blooming wandering. It's just not happening. If you double bend, I'm going to show you how to do this because I'm not sure that one's going. I don't like doing this all the time. Some things you want them to look like this. This is not one of them. But if you double bend and get more of an S shape. You can end up with, I'll go on focus, you know you want to, a decent sized leg at the back to stick directly to whatever it is you're sticking to. So like that, for example. Now that's obviously a really crude one, it's sticking out way too far, etc. But it does give you a representation of a lamp iron. So it's very crude, it's not going to stay on there long term, but for now it can sit there and look pretty. Because why not? I will actually want one there at some point that goes through the hole, but right now that'll do. I'm going to do two more, not as an S, just as an L, that can sit on top of the buffer shanks, because that's basically where these go. Close enough that it'll look right. And as many people have said before me, if it looks right, it is right. And I've just seen I have a message from Alex on Twitter. I haven't seen the whole of what the message says, but I want my mods to know that I have full trust in their decisions that they make. They have not earned their place as mods because I don't trust them to make decisions when needed. Well, that was silly, wasn't it? That's now covered in glue and stuck to my blooming cloth, where it's just going to pull bits of cloth off. So what we're going to do instead is make another one. I'm quite impressed it hit the duster actually. Nothing important right now, I just wanted to mention it while I was online. That's fine, as I say, I saw the start of it. Oh, and there is a link to the Discord from the chatbot, which means we're actually not as far behind on chatbot messages as I thought. And there we go, there is that one. So there's actually only one lamp iron not on there now, which is the one above the buffer beam. The one above the coupling hook, I mean. They're all above the buffer beam, hopefully. There we go. Got there in the end. That took a lot more force than I'd want to put up here where it's not supported. Oh, don't twist to the side, that's no good. And there we go, we have all the lamp irons on, even if I want to get rid of one of them at some point in the future. That point is not now, so it is fine. Things we have just over 5 minutes left. We're going to stop this being quite so bright and red. With a bit of umber paint. I'm hoping this is the right one, so I've got 2 tins of this. One of them is thinned down for airbrushing. This is indeed the brush painting one. Look at that, a much better colour for this carriage to be in. I actually wanted to also make roofs for this and the Craven Break this evening. However, as I was sorting out my bits earlier to get started, I discovered I don't have any plasticard of the thickness I would like, which is for this job 20 thou. Woohoo, hey, hello. Joined at the end, like the mobile post-ops colour scheme. Say hello, huzzah for paint. Hello, Will. How are you? Hurricane is starting to make landfall. That's not what we like to hear. Stay safe, my friend. Other than that, I hope you're okay. Look at Alex shouting blue tack at me as if I'd ever spill paint. Car, I'd never do such a thing, would I? Do not feel obliged to back me up, anyone. Because I'll be honest, I wouldn't back me up. So I've got to say, watch the generator if you have one. Carbon monoxide is not fun. It is not. It's just rain coming off. We lost power for 2 hours. Oh, fun. See, even this whole having a generator thing is completely foreign to me. And now my laptop's saying something's connecting and disconnecting. I wonder what it's wanting to do now. Oh, it's the tablet again. doing more updates. So I should point out this tablet that has been, or has so far been Monitor the Second, and will hopefully continue in that role with less issues like it had earlier with the Wi-Fi, once I play with it some more, has not been used before today. I do believe it's a few years old. So I probably should have put more thought into it, but I literally only thought of it as an idea earlier. Just want to lose power a lot. Car. See, I never even think of that being a thing that people need to think about. It's so weird to me. Shows how different parts of the world are, doesn't it? So power lines being taken by trees pretty normal here in Norfolk. Yeah, well, it's Norfolk. Considering the sorry state of the UK power grid, it's amazing generator ownership isn't more common. Yeah, there are certainly areas of the network of the country I could understand them being common. But you forget I live in the affluent southeast where everyone's a millionaire. Literally never met one of these people. Okay, I have met a few of them, that's not the point. UK power grid in places are 80 years old, that wouldn't surprise me. Hello, Kyle Stevens. You join us for the last 2 minutes. Round here we lose power if there's a still breeze, let alone something like a hurricane. Stiff breeze, yeah. All my power cables are underground, so yeah, wind isn't an issue. And trees aren't an issue either. To be fair, it probably helps that the substation is 50 yards from my house. So I've always got that positive. We are just about to pass into midnight. I know the glue's not dry on this end yet, but this end is all ugly and horrible and multicoloured, and I don't want it to be ugly and horrible and multicoloured. Blooming laptop making noise at me again. See, as I predicted earlier, it all looks fine with a coat of paint. Much better, so we can put that out. Put the terrier at the front of that, put that there, and we can even bring this carriage back in. Our substation's at the end of my road, doesn't help much. Well, mine's not even the end of the road, I can see it when I look out the front. Who needs electric anyway? I say we move back to gas lamps. Gas for life. Electric powers the stream. Just going to throw that out there. But yes, we have reached midnight, everyone. The time has come. We have made some decent progress on 4 projects tonight because I wanted an easy night, so let's do 4 different things. Why not? One of them is now basically finished. I'm going to varnish it and stuff off stream, but other than that, the Bradford's wagon is done. Oh, and make a load for it. My push-pull is looking a lot more brighten-y. We even found some time to do some more of the panelling on our getting very old now carriage, and yeah, I am very happy with this colour that I've gone with on here. Steam powered stream, that is the future. Midnight again, gosh, it seems to happen every week. I find it happens every day. We've got the Bradford's wagon finished. That I'm not going to pick up because it's wet. And we got some white paint started on there. So yes, thank you for coming, everyone. It's been absolutely wonderful having you here. I have had a great time. Great stream tonight, Gary. Thank you. Good night. Thank you, Lily. I've really enjoyed having you all here. It's been a nice, relaxing stream. It's even with its technical difficulties, it's gone rather nicely. Remember, Oak Hill Model Railway says hydration is important. Available from the merch store on Teespring. Use buy summer on the checkout to get a 10% discount until whatever time the US Pacific time hits midnight. Thank you for your company. Good night. Good night. Awesome streams always. Good night all. Good nights. Too soon midnight. Wonderful progress. Thank you. So yes, thank you for coming, everyone. It has been wonderful to have you here. I'll try and actually get a video out this Tuesday. There'll be video on Thursday, obviously, looking at these projects. And until then, I shall see you next Sunday for next week's Let's Build Live. Bye for now.